So like I said, guys, for the folks that are new, okay, we're going to take a quick look at the market, our market bias on the Qs and the SPY, and then we're going to go over the gap list, which is in green in the chat room, and you can also see it for those of you that aren't sure. It's up here in the top right-hand corner where it says long gaps and short gaps. Those are the gaps we're going to go over. Then we're going to build our favorites list, and then it's going to be just about time to trade. So like I was saying, guys, with regard to the market, we have FOMC today at 2 o'clock, and I think the market is going to be in serious waiting just to see what's going to happen with that. So we might find ourselves in a position that we were in yesterday, which is range bound. Okay, and you can take a look. We were looking at that a second ago on the 15-minute here. We were in basically a 50-cent range for the last, I don't know, until the last 30 minutes of the day, and then we broke out. Now today we have not a big gap, a 36-cent gap down, which is 0.19%, not a big deal, to 192.24. So I'm going to say neutral bias again, guys, mainly because of the FOMC meeting, all right? And then the market's going to go a little haywire for about 15 minutes, and then it's going to settle in. So today we really want to find stocks that are on their own page. I mean, we want to do that every day, but today it's extra important because I don't think we're going to get a huge move in the market regardless. And that's for the SPY and the Qs, okay? So here's the S&P 500, same situation. The SPY and the Qs yesterday were lock in step, and I think they're going to be lock in step today as well. So let's dig in and take a look at this gap list and see what we have going on. As I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's an okay gap list. It's not a great gap list today, but there are a few ideas. And we'll start with CDW, which is CD now, gapping up 6.7% to 121.45. You can see that little dot right there. We're gapping over this prior pivot high. That's a $120 mark right there. But we're not only gapping over that pivot, we're gapping over this topping tail as well as this double top. So this is actually a really good gap. If there's a negative, the only real negative that I see here is that it's gapping from a green bar, and it's not a big deal. It's not a big time negative because this is not a super wide range green bar. In terms of range, this stock does about $3 a day. It's got 38,000 shares in the pre-market. Good morning, Eric. The only other negative I see here is the volume, the daily average volume in this is thin. It does somewhere between 700,000 and 800,000 shares, but there are days it does over 1 million shares. So in terms of where it's gapping from, it's decent. Where it's gapping to is really nice, guys. See the double top here on the daily? We're gapping over all of that. The stock has good range, $3 or $4. So I definitely want to have it on the list, and I think it's something that we should keep a close watch on. SPI, guys, SPI Energy. I put this on here for you guys because, as you guys know, I don't really trade penny stocks. The daily chart of this thing is very mediocre. It's gapping up to $4, and $4 kind of puts us right there if I draw a line on it, okay? Why is that important? Well, it's important because we're coming into some overhead supply, right? Some resistance here at the $4.50 mark on this. So again, not a huge fan of trading penny stocks. I understand it's got 1.6 million. Apparently they're getting into the hemp business. Again, who cares? I only look at the charts, but the point is, if you guys want to trade this, it's there for the taking. It doesn't do a lot of movement, but today it likely will. So again, I put it on here so nobody in the room mentions it to me later, so I don't have to, hear about it. Next is HD, Home Depot. This one's actually pulling back slightly. I put this on the list just because it was gapping up earlier, and you can see here at the red bar, it was up as high as 231.35. And if I show you the pre-market chart, you can see right here it was up in the 232 range, okay, a couple hours ago. Now it's pulling back a little bit. The only real concern here on HD is the fact that it put in a pretty decent bar yesterday. It put in about a $4 bar yesterday. The stock has been very strong lately. So today, it's possible you see a little bit of profit taking, but I wouldn't expect too much profit taking on this thing today, okay? But 10,000 shares on this. Average range is about $2. Volume on this is fine. It's going to do 3-4 million shares a day. And I think it's worth a watch. But again, it might be slightly tired because of yesterday. All right. And there it is back to 231.25. Next is Apple, and I have to say, guys, Apple is going to be one of my favorite ideas today. All right, why? Because it's gapping up when the market's gapping down, and these FANG stocks, particularly Apple, seem to move very, very consistently with the market. And we have this 1, 2, kind of 2.5 day consolidation. If we look at it on the 15-minute, guys, look at that right there. This 2.5 day consolidation right in this 220 to 221 range, okay? And now today we're sitting at 220.70, and we can get over 221 right here, get over this area of $221. This thing's got room to 226, right? That's the prior pivot high to the left is 226. So it's got about $5 worth of room. It's got 116,000 shares in the pre-market. Volume range on Apple is fine. Even on a semi-narrow day, it does $1.50 to $2. On a good day, it'll do $3 or $4. But I want to keep a very close eye on Apple because it's showing strength to the market. In fact, this 221.40 area is really, really, really nice on Apple. Okay, so keep an eye on it. You can see the bottoming tails in there. This is almost definitely, guys, when I build my favorites list in about 7-8 minutes from now, this is almost definitely going to be on it. Okay, NVIDIA is triggering kind of a pseudo buy setup. It's technically a buy setup, right? Lower high, and then if it gets over this 181.24 area, it's technically triggering a daily buy setup. The problem with the daily buy setup on NVIDIA is it's a very, very, very shallow retracement, right? It's about a 20% retracement. We'd like to see like a 40, maybe 50% retracement. Why do we want to see that? Because we want to make sure that the stock has rested long enough before it bounces again. So this one has a bit of a shallow retracement, so I don't like it as much, but it does have room back up to the 188 area. So you have about $8 to play with here. It's got 13,000 shares in the pre-market. It does about $3 or $4 a day on an average day. On a good day, it'll do $7 or $8. So again, anything gapping up today is somewhat of interest to me because the markets are gapping down, albeit not very much, okay? So that's the long list. Let's head to the short list, guys, and take a quick look, all right? The first one on the short list, guys, is FedEx, FDX. You can see it's gapping down to 154.52. This little red dot there is where it currently is. And you can see it's taking out a lot, guys, of green days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 9.5 green days. Okay, granted, there's one red day in there. All right, that's a lot of shock value. There's a lot of pissed off people today because they're buying FedEx and they're thinking, oh, this thing's going to go higher, you know, and now it's gapping down, what, $18, something like that, 10%. So the gap is a little bit on the large side, okay, at 10.8%, but it's still a nice gap, okay? So anyway, it has room, guys, down to about 150, so you have about $4 to play with on this, okay? A little bit of a pivot here at 154, but we're very close to breaking that. Next is Roku, R-O-K-U. This is going to be the hot stock today. Everybody's going to be talking about Roku today. Anyway, this stock, guys, obviously some news came out with Comcast, et cetera, and so forth. I really would prefer Roku under 140. Okay, I mean, you can see why I would prefer it under 140 because the daily buy setup on this is failing. And once it breaks 140, you have completely failed that daily buy setup and you have room down to about $127, something like that. So 614,000 shares on this thing. This is what the pre-market chart looks like right now. Okay, so when that news came out, this thing just tumbled. But again, it's a bit of a whippy stock. You're still sitting right in that support range, guys. So I know there's a ton of you out there that want to trade Roku today. I know it. But this is not going to be easy money today because it's still above 140. Under 140, I'd be jonesing to short this thing. Okay? But you need a pattern at 140. You can't just randomly short it at 140. Okay? Do not be shocked if it test 140 to 141 and then possibly bounces. Don't be shocked if that happens, okay? But I do like it. I just want to wait to see if it gets under 140. Next, PTCT, all right, gapping down to 39.67. You can see this daily chart, guys, even though it's in an uptrend, there's a lot of overlap, okay? But gapping down to 39.67 kind of puts it right in this area right here. There are some bottoming tails, a little bit of support. it doesn't have a ton of room, but this stock also doesn't trade a ton of range. It does about $1 to $2 a day in range. Volume's going to be fine today. It's got 196,000 shares in the pre-market. And like I said, you got a little bit of room, maybe $1 to $2 to play this. Next is UPS. In sympathy perhaps with FedEx, gapping down to 118, or there it is, 119.08. And you can see again, taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 or 9 days worth of bullishness. And now it has room down to the line I'm drawing, which is 116.30, something like that. So you have about $3 to play with on UPS, which is fine because an average trading range about $1.50 a day, something like that, okay? So 12,000 shares printed. This thing does plenty of volume. I just realized you can't really see the bottom. Let me pull that up. There it is, okay? This thing does plenty of volume, so you don't have to worry about that, all right? Next is ZYNE, gapping down 9% to 1024. I know it says HB, hard to borrow, but I have shares of this, guys. I got 2,000 shares of ZYNE. Do I have that on here? Yes, there it is. I just moved this over. You see down here, guys, ZYNE, 2,000 shares, approved, 0%. So I have shares of ZYNE today, okay? It's okay, guys. I definitely want to trade it under 940. Why? Because, well, that's where all the daily support is. $10, 940 to $10. Pivot, pivot, pivot over here. Okay, so if we can find a way to get this thing under the 940 area, then I really like it, okay? Next is GIS, which has bullied tremendously, all right? Take a look at this pre-market chart on GIS, all right? This thing was down in the 52.50 to 53 range, okay, when I first looked at it, and now it's up to 55. So this one could possibly bully, but you can see why I initially put it on the list, right? Under 53.50, this is a really nice gap. Why? Because you're gapping under two wide range green bars and you have room down to about 51 bucks. So I like it if it gets under 53.50, but I'm not going to trade it unless it does that. All right. This could, it's rare, but this thing could turn around and be a long play today if it gets over 56 bucks. So this one might end up being something we flip today, but at the moment I'm going to keep it on the short list for now. But at the moment it's a backup watch list. Okay. And then last but not least is IOTS, which is Adesto Tech Corp. It looks like an ADR. I don't like to trade ADRs that much. American Depository Receipts, which are what? Foreign stocks domiciled in the U.S. Why don't I like to trade them? Because they usually work hand in hand with their home market, okay? Their home market. So if this thing gets under this area of 984, it's got a lot of room to drop, at least to $9, possibly down to $8. 123,000 shares on this. It'll do 50 to 75 cents a day. Normally it's pretty thin though. It does 300 to 500,000 shares, but with 123,000 in the pre-market, it'll do a lot more than that today. Take a quick look at Adobe, guys. You know, Adobe is good. I'm going to throw Adobe on the short list. Somebody's mentioning Adobe. I want to look at that. And now it's time to build our favorites list, guys. So we do this every day, guys. I know most of you know this, but we take the gap list, right, which is the main list, which is usually anywhere from 10 to 20 ideas. And then I pull up pre-market charts and we build a favorites list, which is basically the gap list dwindled down to the best of the best. All right. And the first one for me that I like today is CDW over this 121.75 area. Okay. So CDW over 121.75 is going to be a favorite. For those of you that are new to the room, what that means is I want to trade this thing over 121.75, but I'm not going to trade it unless it gives me a pattern. All right, I'm not going to trade it unless it gives me a pattern. Apple over 221.50 is another favorite, and unfortunately it's going to trigger here soon. All right, NVIDIA, we have to wait and see on NVIDIA, but this could end up being interesting. FedEx, guys, I do like FedEx, but I prefer it under 152 area, so I'm going to have to wait and see on FedEx. It's already down 11%. Roku I'll throw on, guys, but Roku has to be under 140. So we're a ways away from trading Roku. All right. PTCT we'll keep an eye on. UPS under 118.50 I like. Okay. ZYNE is nice, but again, it's got to be under that 980 area. GIS bullied, IOTS, and Adobe 275 is a little bit interesting, guys. I'll say the Adobe as well. Adobe under 275. Okay, So that's the favorites list, guys. CD now over 121.75. I put, it's supposed to be AAPL, guys. I don't know what happened there. AAOK equals AAPL over 22150. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Okay. Let's see. All right. So give me 1 second and let me get this out there, guys. And I gotta fix that Apple. PL. All right. I'm gonna fill out my thumbnail watch list now. Okay, guys. So just give me 1 second while I do that. Shoot. Sorry, guys, I messed something up. All right. All right, that's better. WAPL. For those of you that are new, guys, when I say thumbnail watch list, all that simply refers to are a bunch of 2-minute charts that are, I don't know, about 3 inches by 3 inches wide. Why do I do this? So that I can take a look at all the stocks that I have on my list with one swoop glance, right? So everybody always asks me, well, how do you find those 3 bar plays? I just stare at this list every day, right? The list that I put into the chat room, the favorites list that I put out there, all that stuff. I just literally stare at it until a 3-bar play or a breakout or a buy setup forms. All right. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, and I have 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to open here in about 3 minutes. All right, a little bit less than 3 minutes. Okay, I'm going to take a quick look at CHWY, see what's up with that. You can keep an eye on it, right? There's a lot of support down here. We'll watch that. MU is interesting, says Jordan. You know what? MU is interesting. I'm going to throw that just on the list here, guys. You can see it's on the watch list right there. You put it over here just to have it. All right, so there's that. And make sure, guys, you save your pages and know what you want to trade, okay? Also, guys, just FYI, I know I mentioned this 2 times, but mentorship is sold out, guys. October 26th, 27th, 28th, mentorship is sold out, all right? No more space available. And lastly, lecture today in the chat room at 11:15 to 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Lecture today, guys. All right? Lecture in the chat room. Take a quick look at ACAD. I haven't determined the topic yet, but it will be a good one because, well, I try to keep them good. Little pseudo 3-bar play on ACAD, but again, it's at support is why I didn't put it on the gap down list. I mean, Cliff just took the words out of my mouth. It's gapping into support. Okay? All right, so whoopsie. Didn't mean to do that. 1 second, guys. There we go. All right. We're going to open here, guys, in about a minute or so. So know what you want to trade and save your pages. Focus is everything, guys. Okay? You have to know what your favorites are. Otherwise, you're going to be trading like a chicken with their head cut off, running around in circles because there's 15 or 20 ideas out there, and you're not going to catch any of them. I don't love this list, but I tell you, the ones I'm really focused on are Apple, and I think that CDW is interesting. They're both pulling back. There's nothing I just super love off the open, though. Okay. Yeah, FedEx, guys, you can watch. It's on our list. It's pulling in here on the FedEx. You can, again, keep an eye on the UPS. UPS actually looks a little nicer than FedEx, guys, in my opinion, even though FedEx has way more volume. So there's a lot more institutional interest in FedEx, okay? All right, guys, get ready. We're gonna markets open. All right, and patience. HD is bouncing here right off the open. Okay. All right, CDW. Why is my Apple not up there? There it is. Okay. Watch that CDW. It's going to be super spready and whippy, guys. You can see that here. It's very whippy. Okay. Apple is really interesting. But Apple is highly predicated upon what the market's going to do today. And the market is probably not going to be easy to trade today. All right. For those of you guys streaming, we'll see you next time.